Thomas, reporter at Placetech. Joining me today is Richard Gerritsen, Regional Director at Yardi, and we're going to discuss how PropTech can transform investment management. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Carl.
Richard, let's jump right into the deep end. What's Yardi's role in investment management, and what do you do to support the industry?
That's a big question. So, we're a leading technology provider in the real estate management industry. So what we do is we provide, a technology platform that can be used by real estate investment managers to manage their assets, their properties, and everything that happens within the properties with not only their internal staff, but also with their external service providers. So basically what we do is that we aggregate in a sense on one platform, where we provide that platform where all the data, the functionality, and the documents come together. And we make that platform with all the data, documents, and functionality available to all the stakeholders. And that could be internal stakeholders like, asset managers, investment managers, property managers, portfolio managers, et cetera, But the unique thing about it is that it also collaborates directly with external stakeholders like tenants or residents, like that's more at the bottom of the food chain, but also with investors at the top end. So what we provide then is that the investor, through his investments, has direct access to all the data, the detailed data or the overview, and can do something with it, can collaborate with all the people, the stakeholders involved.
So that is obviously a huge thing to do, but what areas specifically do you think, or what areas or roles involved in investment management do you think have the most to win from better data, better automation?
Yeah, well, I would say better data as the answer, but let me explain. So, one of the principles of investment management or investing is that you have better information, so you know things better than someone else, than your competitor, or you know it faster than someone else. And that's kind of the principles, a principle of investment management. Basically, that is what we provide, in a sense that when you make the strategic decision to have a Yardi platform, you have this complete control and therefore also transparency across the whole chain. So in the ideal form, all the facility, property, and asset management, and everything that these teams and these people do, you have access to. It doesn't mean that, on a day-to-day business, you want to know the detail of the detail of the detail. Yeah, but you have access to it. And that is one of, we like to think, one of the principles of investment management. So we provide that platform, that you have this overview of what's happening in your portfolio of investments, and that you have the ability to down drill into the details. But most of all, you really have a big chunk of the data right at your fingertips to do all the analysis that you need for wholesale analysis, for maybe comparison with investment opportunities, etc. So it is right there at your fingertips. It's almost like a starting point to further build your investment organization, Paul.
And presumably this works across any commercial real estate sector.
And residential, yes.
Can you give us a couple of examples of some of the tools that Yardi has integrated into investment management?
So we integrate into a lot of different third-party tools and systems, because we are an open platform. Yet we have a very strong vision when it comes to having, again, all the data, documents, and functionality as much as possible on this platform, because now you can immediately work with it, and you can also monitor other people working with that same set of data and functionality. So the vision of Yardi is that there are a lot of things happening on this platform. What type of functionality should you be thinking of? Going from top down, I would say the end result. Let's start with the end result. The end result is an investor portal or apps that gives the investor a direct understanding, what is happening in his portfolio and what opportunities, investment opportunities, are being made available to him. But it also involves the investor directly in certain processes like a capital call, etc., etc. So it's not only exchanging documents, it's not only making documents available, but it is providing this interactive dashboard, blah blah blah. That's kind of the end result, right? And the big differentiator with other software systems out there is that we have this vision that everything is on this platform. So what this investor is being presented is real data. It is the result of fund administrators working on that platform. It is the result of investment managers managing that portfolio. It is the result of all these asset managers doing their thing. It's the result of all their property managers doing their thing. So all the basic, or all the activities that a portfolio asset manager, et cetera, normally perform, from rent collection to CapEx projects to et cetera, is all happening in the same place. So the investor and the investment manager, they all have this set of real data with a very high level of certainty that it is correct, that it is on time, that it's complete, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. How do you see investment management changing over the next 5-10 years from where we are now?
So I think we are at the brink, or we are already in the middle of this big transformation, because like I said, investment management is all about knowledge, right? I know a little bit more than you, so therefore I can make better investment decisions than you are. So this knowing better or knowing more is basically comes down to data. So you have more data available, and you have better data available. So the better data available is something that we provide, and the more data available is something that we provide to a certain extent. But what will be the real transformation for the investment management industry is that there is no such thing anymore as relevant data. Because what do we do? What have we done as an industry up until now? So there's all this data. First, we're going to decide what is relevant, and then we are going to gather the relevant data, right? And that's it. Here's the thing. We live in a day and age now where data is more and more generally available. So the need to first decide what is relevant is no longer necessary, which definitely means that, with more and more data set, you can just unleash your computing power, because we have computers and we have systems, etc., and we can have the analysis work done for you. And the analysis work is done on bigger data sets and different data sets. And to give you an example, because this maybe sounds a little conceptual, let me give you an example from an adjacent industry. We all know Flight Tracker, right? There are these websites that that track flights, and you can see that the British Airways 123 is on its way from London Heathrow to Amsterdam, blah blah blah. So this is information which is generally available, which is not necessarily relevant for any investment decisions, right? Let me give you an example. So there are companies that track these flights, but there are also companies that analyze these flight data, which means that there are companies that have flagged, private jet of the CEO of company A and the private jet of company, the CEO of company B, and your private jet, my private jet. What I mean. So by analyzing these data, they found out that the CEOs of two American companies, and this is in the fall of 2020, the flights or the jets, the private jets of these two CEOs of two weapon industry companies, they were parked next to each other at more regional airports in the US. So they were parked literally next to each other. So that can mean two things. It's coincidence and they were visiting the same trade show or conference or whatever, or they were in conversation with each other and they wanted to be, relatively under the radar because they chose these regional airports. This analysis, this information was bought by investment companies, and they made they took certain investment positions anticipating a possible merger between the two companies. This was in the fall of 2020, and in May of 2021, it was announced that these two companies actually merged. So this is an example of data that is completely irrelevant. Is it or isn't it, right? Apparently has turned out to be very relevant information with regards to an investment management decision. This is a very long example for me to point out that we really should step away as an industry from the starting point that we first decide which data is relevant and which data is not.
Mm-hmm. Now, bringing things back to Yardi, how do you instill confidence in investors that they're doing what they need to do to be in the best possible position to manage their investments?
Yeah, so investor confidence is a tricky topic, right? So and we only play a small part in that, I would say. But the things that we can do for our clients, or that we are doing for our clients, is that we provide transparency in what is happening today and what has happened, in the last week, month, year, so that there is a full understanding of. And from there, that increases the ability to forecast. And again, the forecast then is not based on a very limited data set, but the data set and the set of assumptions that are being used are becoming more broader. So we provide more transparency about what has happened, and we increase the ability to properly forecast the future. That is what we provide to investors, and that hopefully plays an important role in increasing investor confidence.
Great. Thank you for that, Richard. I think that's given us quite a nice overview of what you do and some of the thoughts around data and investment management. So thank you, Richard, for joining us today. And to find out more about Yardi and its tools for investment management, please visit yardi.co.uk. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.